Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to Monday, 30th December. Now on this year on 2024, only one day is left. That is 31st December. Tomorrow we'll again be doing daily decodes. And I hope that your year has been good. If there has been some hiccups or some problems, I hope the coming one would be even better than 2024. So keep working hard, keep focusing on your goal and keep improving. And I hope my audio and video is clear to everyone. Please let me know if the audio and video is clear to everyone. Okay, great. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year. And I want that 2025 should be your year. You achieve everything what you are wishing for. Legitimate wishes I'm talking about. Good and positive wishes. Okay, so moving further into this, let's move for the thought for the day. Before I move for the thought for the day, OGP 2026 batch, it's starting in the first week of January, that is 2nd January 2025. That means once the new year starts on 1st January, it's on 2nd January the batch is starting. It's under the guidance of Vinay Sir, who is the founder and director of Insights IAS, and nothing better matches than him on the guidance for your OGP and civil services program. This program will include GS, CSAT and SA, and for all details you can also call on to this number or scan this QR code. So a lot of admissions, a lot of students are coming and inquiring about admissions. If you have any inquiry, you can always call on this number for all details. Let's move towards the thought for the day. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. So I'm a cricket fan. I think by now you already know that, Sri Lakshmi, advanced Happy New Year, sir. Yes, lots of up and downs. Yes, yes, I know. This is how the life, is there. There will be ups, there's down, and then eventually a thing will come, will take you places. So as you know that I keep giving cricket analogies, and India is fighting the fourth test match. And I will talk about a little bit about Rishabh Pant. People who don't know cricket, I'll just give you a small story. So in test match, you get 2 times batting because you 2 times bat. This is for those people who don't know cricket. So there's a good batsman called Rishabh Pant. In the last match, the first batting, he he played a very erroneous shot, I should say, at the point of the match, and he was highly criticized by greats like Sunil Gavaskar, telling him he's stupid, and a lot of things. But in this innings, the way he is fighting the match, it is telling me the temperament of this player, that he is telling to the world that I can bat for a very long period of time. Why I'm talking about it, that do something today that your future self will thank you for, because today he is struggling, today he is fighting for it. Tomorrow the entire country will be thankful that he was able to save the test match with the other batsmen. Similarly, it goes for you also, that you also need to continuously put an effort when you think that you don't want to put an effort, when you feel that today it's my leisure day and today I don't want to give time to studies or to newspaper or to the syllabus. This is when you need to put an effort. Effort is very important, because if you keep putting this effort, finally in future a result will come and it will say all India rank 1. And then you will, when you will look in the hindsight, or you'll go back retrospectively, you will see that those were the days when I did not wanted to study, and today is the result, because at those time when that thought came, I killed that thought and continue my studies. So this is for everyone, whoever is preparing for the exam. Okay, volume is low, I'll just ask him to increase a bit. So I've asked him, he'll be increasing the volume. Okay, so moving towards the important news for today. So the important news for today is security forces faced resurgence in militancy in Jammu and region. So I think I've spoken a lot about this Jammu issue a lot, even in the previous decodes, and obviously when I take the internal security course, this is one of the most important areas where I talk about that how militancy has increased in Jammu, why there is a change that they are moving toward, they're moving from Kashmir region. Kashmir region. Is the voice okay, or there is a bit of echo in it? Just reduce a little bit. I think echo is coming. Little bit. Hello, hello, hello. Is it okay, or you are finding some sound in the problem in the sound? Okay, it's fine. Thank you everyone. So security forces face resurgence in the militancy in Jammu region, that terrorism has increased. So initially most of these militants, they used to cross over from Jammu. They never used to do militant attacks. The focus was Kashmir. But in the recent days, this trend started around 2020, and now a lot of militant attacks are happening in Jammu. And what are the reasons behind it, we'll understand. Second is ISRO to sign off 2024 with space docking experiment mission. So this would be happening today around 10 p.m. today. China unveils sixth generation fighter jet and world's largest amphibious ship. So China is, increasing its defense machinery, arms and armaments on a war footing. And they have also increased their defense budget. We'll also talk about that. An editorial will talk about Russia-Ukraine war poses great risk for airlines. Recently, there has been a crash of an Azerbaijan-based airline. We'll talk about that. In prelims decode, we'll also talk about what is a sixth generation fighter jet, and we'll also talk about what is a generation, why it is called generation, like first generation, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Why is this word generation is used, and what is the relevance of this word generation? Okay, so let's move towards the first important news, that is security forces resurgence in the militancy in Jammu region this year. So what is happening in Jammu? Let's move towards it. So if you see what has happened in Jammu in the previous past, this map will give you a basic idea about it. This is what certain 2-3 maps. These came in the India Today. This is also part of my internal security structure. If you join the courses, you will also get to know. So I'm just giving you a little bit of insight into this. So if you see, this is your Pir Panjal range. Okay, and this is 2020. So if you see, the darker the red color, more are the attacks. Now attacks in the Rajouri region was increasing. So it is not exactly dark red, but it is around pink. So Poonch, Rajouri, Riyasi, Jammu, Kathua, this is all part of the Jammu region. Now you come 2021, see the Poonch region, it is more red, attacks are increasing. Rajouri, it is increasing, and Jammu, it is increasing. So from 2020 to 2021, attacks have increased. Initially, most of these militants, what they used to do is that from Poonch, Rajouri, Riyasi, Jammu, Kathua, they used to cross over and go towards Kashmir and do militant attacks in Kashmir. But now they are not doing militant attacks in Kashmir. They are doing a lot of militant attacks in Jammu. What are the reasons behind it? We'll understand. First, let's go through the map. Now, what happens then? 2022, a lot of attacks increased in Rajouri, Jammu attacks continued, and Poonch attacks continued. Then comes 2023, Poonch attacks continued, Rajouri attacks increased, and relatively less attacks in the Riyasi, Jammu, Kathua region. Let's come to 2024. This is where Poonch attack happened, Rajouri attack continued, and Riyasi, if you remember, that bus and a deadly attack happened in Riyasi, Jammu. So again, a lot of attacks increased in Jammu region. Then Jammu and this area also increased. It is not that they are not doing the militant attacks in Kashmir. The successfulness or the successful militant attacks in Kashmir has reduced, but in Jammu this has increased. So this is what has majorly happened from 2021, 2020 to 2024. So what are the major reasons why they are attacking Jammu? So some of the reasons are because in 2020, when the Galwan clash happened, most of the forces shifted to, even I'll go prior to that. So for example, 2017 Operation All Out started after the killing of Burhan Wani. Burhan Wani was a dreaded militant, okay, or a celebrated militant or a terrorist in Pakistan also. So after his after his killing in 2017, Operation All Out started. And in this Operation All Out, in which CRPF was involved, Indian Army was involved, Intelligence Bureau, RAW, and the Jammu and Kashmir Police Special Operation Group, multiple agencies were involved. So it was a cohesive and cooperative operation, and multiple successful was this operation. Multiple militants were killed under this operation. And in 2019, abrogation of Article 370 comes. Why abrogation of Article 370 comes in 2019 and not 2017? Because you needed peace and tranquility in the valley. So first of all, these militants were killed and a little bit of peace came. Then the constitutional changes came. So from 2017 to 2019, and even at the time of abrogation of Article 370, a lot of security forces were pushed in Kashmir. So number of security forces were beefed up in Kashmir, and because of this, a lot of militants were killed and militancy majorly came down in Kashmir. First part. Second part, you also need to know that the security forces have been fighting militancy in Kashmir for a very long period of time. So they have sources, they have intelligence sources, everything. Second point. Third important point, what happens in 2020, the Galwan clash started and a majority of our Indian army also moved towards the China. So not towards the China, towards the Galwan area where the Chinese army was also deployed. So army was majorly concentrated, or security forces were majorly concentrated in the Kashmir region and in the Galwan region, two major points. So they were concentrated in Kashmir region and they were concentrated in Galwan region. Now, at this point of time in 2020, the terrorist and the Pakistani sponsored terrorism, they realized that the Indian army is basically towards these two areas, and rather than doing a militant operation or a terrorist operation in Kashmir, which is not making sense because we are losing terrorists and we are not able to demoralize the people out there, demoralize the security forces, let's start attacking Jammu. So they wanted to attack Kashmir only, but since they were not able to become successful in this region, they want to do a lot of militant attacks in Kashmir so that the Kashmir issue becomes internationalized in nature, and then they can do geopolitics over it in United Nations or United Nations Security Council, not Security Council, since now Pakistan is also a non-permanent member, and United Nations General Assembly writing these articles in different newspaper that this is freedom fighting going in Kashmir. That was their major agenda, that a lot of militant attacks will happen. It will demoralize the security forces and we will internationalize the Kashmir agenda, which Pakistan has been doing for ages. That was their agenda, that was their intent. But the problem was happening that in Kashmir, their militant operations were not successful. So they realized rather than focusing on Kashmir, let's focus on Jammu region, because our focus is destabilizing India. So they started focusing on Jammu. Now in Jammu, for the last 20-24 years, the number of security forces have not been very high. First. Second, why the security forces have not been very high? Because there never used to be militant attacks in Jammu. The focus of militant groups was Kashmir, not Jammu. So the security forces were less, because security forces, that is why they were concentrated in Kashmir or towards the Galwan area after 2020. So the terrorist group and Pakistan-based sponsored terrorist groups, they founded an opportunity, let's target Jammu region, and that is why they started targeting. Now the security forces have been increasing Jammu, but you need to realize for the last 25-30 years, the security forces know nook and corner of Kashmir region. In Jammu, it will take time for the forces to get the entire geographical mapping, geographical in and out of this area, and eventually they would be able to successfully defeat them also and eliminate them. But for now, the security forces are increasing, and there is a very important statistics which has come from Jammu, that the number of security people which has been killed in Jammu is much more than the terrorists being killed. Now this number is very different in Kashmir. In Kashmir, number of militants being killed is much more than the security personnel being killed. But this is exactly opposite in Jammu. In Jammu, the security personnel have been killed more and the terrorists have been killed less. So this also tells that in the coming 2025, Jammu would be a very important region for us to eliminate these terrorists, so that Jammu does not become destabilized as Kashmir used to be. Otherwise, whatever successful we have been in Kashmir, then it will, if the same thing happens to Jammu, it will counterbalance, then there is no development in that context. Okay, so this is one thing which has happened. So I now at least you get to know what has happened in Jammu. Now coming to the reason that why the security forces have not been successful in this area, one is that the number of security forces were less in Jammu. Now, Operation Sarva Shakti and all these operations have also, earlier there was an Operation Sarpa Vinash which started in 2003, and then there is an Operation Sarva Shakti around 2023, 2024 we are talking about, it started. So these operations have started, and these are massive operation which is done by 15 Corps and 16 Corps, which is started in Jammu region, but it will take time to get the result of it. So first was less security forces in Jammu, and that is why these terrorists were easily able to kill people or eliminate people, the civilian people. So increase security presence, enhance deployment of security forces in Kashmir. Now you need to increase the presence in Jammu region first. modern technology. Now the terrorists have also become very smart. Earlier they used to come in bunches, 10, 15, 20. Now in Jammu they're entering with 2, 3, 4 people, and these are the topper of terrorist schools, whichever, you know, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba. So rather than sending them in bunches of 15 to 20, it was easily, you could identify them and catch them. Now they're coming in groups of 1 or 2 or 3, and their major focus point is always this, that once they enter Jammu, they just want to enter the Pir Panjal range. Now Pir Panjal range has huge amount of forest, and once they forest and mountains, so once they enter this huge range of around 250 to 300 kilometers in this region, once they enter this, it is very difficult for security forces to find them, because the Pir Panjal range gives them natural concealment because of huge mountains and because of huge trees and forest cover, which helps them in the early morning, because early morning this dew and fog would be there, and even the evening time around 5 or 6 the darkness comes. So this gives them natural concealment, and since it's a mountain range, it is very difficult to find them. So what happens is that if the security forces goes behind them, they enter here, and on the other side they go towards Kashmir, do a militant attack. If the security forces are coming, they again enter the Pir Panjal range. So until and unless, if this is the Pir Panjal range, security operation from this side and a security operation happens from this side, both sides it happens, then only you would be able to eliminate these militants which use Pir Panjal range. Now this is easier said than done, because you're talking about doing a militant operation over a mountain range, okay, Pir Panjal range. It is not a roadblock, okay. Even if you see when the Mumbai operation happened, it took so many hours to do it, okay. So much effort was required. This you're talking about doing an operation over a mountain range. Yes, the security forces have the capability, but you need to give them time. So this is a one important problem of Pir Panjal range advantage, which offers natural cover for undetected movements. Other thing is that these terrorist group are now highly trained. So compared to the previous group, they know how to survive in mountains. They use drones and more technology, and mostly this technology which Pakistan is giving them, this technology is being derived from China only. So geographical challenges, difficult topography aids infiltration, and from 2020 to 2024, these militant groups, they have been able to put their sleeper cells in Jammu. They have been able to get their local support for logistics and arms, which they have been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. And because of this, they are easily able to enter. Because of this, they are easily able to enter and easily able to enter Jammu region and then move towards Pir Panjal, do an heinous operation in Kashmir, killing people, come back or do an operation in Jammu region. So this is what their major agenda is. Okay, just a sec, guys. Okay, guys. So this is the major reason which is happening in Jammu area. Now moving forward into this, what is the resurgence in militancy in Jammu region is happening? Jammu region witnessed a significant resurgence in militancy involving district. All 10 districts, the militant strategies compared to the Kashmir have become better. More militant attacks in all Jammu 10 district. This is the point I was talking about. Okay. The ratio of security personnel killed to militants neutralized in Jammu is far higher than in the Kashmir Valley, highlighting advanced training and survival tactics by militants. That means Pakistan, which does not have money for shelter, which does not have money for food, whatever money they have, they are putting on these militant groups, and that has been their agenda for lifetime. So, you can keep killing militants, which is coming from outside, until unless you don't kill the epicenter of these militants, that is Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. Until unless these groups are decimated, this militancy will continue. Hizbul Mujahideen, which was local, which used to train local militants from Kashmir, that the spine and the back of this particular group was broken by Operation All Out in 2017. A number of people associated with Hizbul Mujahideen as a terrorist group has come down, because their focus was rattling the Kashmiri Indian citizen to become a militant. That was their, like, Kashmiri citizen, Indian Kashmiri citizen, taking that weapon and fighting against. I am using the Kashmiri word because their focus was that the local Kashmiri boy, he should be against the Indian state. He should leave his education, should leave his job and become a militant. So that is why it was very important to break the spine of Hizbul Mujahideen, which has majorly been done. Just to tell you, Burhan Wani was also part, the terrorist was also part of Hizbul Mujahideen. So now the tactics have been changing. The escalation underscores the challenge of security forces in the region previously considered relatively stable. Jammu was relatively stable, but the number of attacks has increased. So there are certain numbers I would like to talk. 18 personnel killed compared to 13 militants. So that is why I'm talking about 18 security personnel has been killed and 13 militants. That means security personnel have been killed in a larger number compared to militants. In Kashmir region, 55 militants have been killed and 10 security personnel. That means our success rate in Kashmir is much higher than Jammu region. And here, please do not understand that, I'm saying that security personnel have been killed. I'm just trying to give you statistics. We always honor the sacrifice of these people. Because of them, we are able to easily live in peace in our cities. But just to tell you, statistically, Jammu, the successful rate is less, but this will increase and this will soon change. Now, first time trends in Jammu, security forces recorded higher casualties compared to militants in Jammu. Elite para units, so para special forces units of army is also struggling. So this is something new which is happening, but I'm very sure in the coming days, 6 months, 8 months, when the Operation Sarva Shakti, 15 corps, 16 corps, para and para forces and kilo forces and the intelligence bureau and all intelligence, cohesively start working, we'll get better numbers from Jammu in the coming year. But as of now, this is the concern. So key factors is militant began settling in 2020. This I've already explained you using new forest ridges in Kathua, Riasi, Doda. This is basically the map. Let me see. This is the map which, which shows you what exactly they are trying to do. So if you see, this is your Pir Panjal range. This is your Pir Panjal range. Okay. So from this is your Punch, Rajouri. So they try to enter from here and then these are shorter routes to get into Kashmir, do militant operation and come out. So once a terrorist has entered Rajouri, he can easily go to the mountains and to Kokarnag. Kokarnag is in Kashmir. So if I tell you, see for example, and I'm Jammu and this is Pir Panjal range, I enter this, security forces are less in number and then I go to Kashmir, I do a lot of operation, kill people. If the security forces come, I sit back in Pir Panjal ranges. By the time security forces go, I come back in Jammu, I take the help of my local support and go to Pakistan occupied Kashmir or wherever I want to. So this is exactly the strategy they are deploying. So we need to beef up our forces and strategy to counter these people, and this is your Pir Panjal range. Now this will tell you once you enter this ranges, the drones also do not work here. Drones have a lot of problem when they are trying to do a surveillance of the forest. Please go and read about this on Google, the problem drones have over a forest when they are trying to do a surveillance over forest. So, and these are the kind of huts and everything they use, the militants use for their hideouts also. So just giving you a glimpse of how Pir Panjal range look, it is very dense in nature. And always remember that in the mountains for early in the morning till 7, 8, 9, the fog is there, and even in the evening around 5 or 6, the darkness comes. So this 5 o'clock to next day morning 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, this is a period for a good hideout for militants, which is giving them, the nature is giving them natural concealment, which helps them survive them better. Okay. So this is certain things which I wanted to share. And 14 houses of the crackdown on militants have started. 14 houses of militant supporters have been put under UAPA. National security. There was a recent news that the National Security Guards now is in Jammu, and this also tells the importance of energy. This also tells the amount of militants which are entering in Jammu region, that we have to deploy now National Security Guards in Jammu. So very important. So there might be a future attack which happens, and this energy would be there eliminating. That is the reason energy has been put, which is a dreaded and deadly force. Okay, not dreaded, deadly. Focus on district Udhampur, Riasi, Doda, Kishtwar due to militancy activity. Despite reports of 30 militants, only 13 were neutralized. High profile arrest of Hakamdeen aiding the Riasi attack, that bus attack, and killing of LET commander Junaid Ahmed Butt. So he was one of those Burhan Wani gang which was left. He has also been eliminated. So this we had also discussed in, I think, in the Daily Decodes earlier also. So implication of the resurgence, widespread impact in Jammu, transition from infiltration to a region to full-blown militancy. So that is what I am trying to say. What has happened in Kashmir, and we have reduced militancy in Kashmir. That does not mean the militancy should increase in Jammu. Otherwise, what you have achieved in Kashmir, it will become zero in Jammu. So we need to make sure that the militancy does not increase in Jammu and Jammu do not destabilize it. So there can be a geopolitical dimension also. External Affairs Minister was there in Pakistan for the SCO summit, and these militant attacks are happening. So it's very, I've maintained again and again, it's almost impossible to trust the Pakistanis on this. Strained security resources, the evolving tactics of militant traditionally anti-insurgency approach require strategic recalibration needs to be done, thought process needs to be changed, that the kind of tactics which we used against the Kashmiri based militants or the militants who were in Kashmir, maybe we need to change, recalibrate, and I'm very sure the security forces would be working on this. Okay, so the question is, analyze the resurgence of militancy in Jammu region in 2024, focusing on its implication for security forces and counter-insurgency strategies. So this is a typical internal security question. And if you write the answer about this in the comment section, if you write this in the comment section, answer to this in the comment section, I would also give a reply to you that your answer is correct and what are the problems with it. But if you put an answer to this question in the comment section, I will reply on the comment section. Once the session is over, you can put your answer. I will go through it and try to put what can change and what are the problems and everything. And if there is something needs to be added or subtracted. So please do put your answer in the comment section. Then I would definitely check. This is one new thing from our side that, we'll try to help you with your answer writing, but the answer needs to be in comment section. You write your answer in your Word file. First write the answer in a Word file or whichever file you have, then you can copy paste your answer here. And please do not get your answer from Chat GPT or something. Please write your own answers. That is the entire intent of the exercise, because you will not have GPT in UPSC exam. Now the next positive news which is coming is the first positive news for today. ISRO to sign off 2024 with space docking experiment mission today. So this is the docking of the satellite. For example, in a very simple way, for example, if this is a hole and this is a structure, okay, so fitting of two structures. So this is, for example, this is a structure, this is alpha structures, this is bravo structure. So once it fits, this is called docking. So the connection of this structure is called docking in the satellite language. So for example, if this is a circle or this is a square or rectangle and this fitting happens, this is called docking. So for example, this is a structure and it needs to fit here. This would be called docking. Okay. So this is called docking exercise, which would be done by satellite. So I wanted to tell you first what is docking so that you easily understand what is the news all about. Okay. I would definitely be taking comments. Please keep putting comments. Okay. Comments has to be go. Don't stop your comments. Comments don't stop. Eventually, I will be taking your comments. No comments would be left. Please don't worry. Keep putting your comments. It is related to whichever news I would be taking it. Please do not stop your comments. There is no problem regarding that. So ISRO space docking experiment mission, a milestone in India's space endeavors. So ISRO is set to conclude 2024 today by 30th December with a landmark mission, that is PSLV 660 space DEX launch. Now this question might come, a prelims question might come, they might write there SpaceX, okay, because it's very similar to SpaceX, not SpaceX. SpaceX is that Elon Musk, and SpaceX, space and, space they have taken SPA, and then DEX they have taken. So I think DEX of that docking exercise. So space, SPA stands for space, D stands for docking, and I think EX stands for exercise as far as my intelligence goes. So this SpaceX would be launched. So they might change in prelims from SpaceX to SpaceX. Please remember this. This small difference can cost you your MCQ in your prelims. So SpaceX launched from Sri Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sri Harikota. It will happen today. For the first time, ISRO will attempt space docking experiment. That is SpaceX. So this SPA stands for space docking experiment. So I was saying exercise, it's an experiment. So a critical step towards advancing India's capability in spacecraft rendezvous, docking and undocking. So for your spacecraft missions, and if you want to go deeper into space, the docking missions are very important. So experiment is a significant milestone for India's future, including space station operations, satellite servicing, and interplanetary explorations. When you want to go to even the different planets, this is very important for missions if you want to do interplanetary explorations. So in this context, there are three important components which you know. First is your polar satellite vehicle, that is PSLV 660, will place SDX 101 chaser target. So your PSLV C60, then your chaser, and then your target. Okay, so chaser will go and it will get fitted in the target. That's the exercise. So these are the three important components which you need to have. So the polar satellite launch vehicle, it will place two satellites. That first satellite is chaser, the second satellite is your target, and the chaser and target need to combine. They need to get fit together. So this is your space, this satellite docking exercise. Okay, so each satellite weighs approximately 220 kgs. The target will separate 15 minutes after the launch and chaser a few seconds later. So for example, the PSLV is going, first the target will go. So targets then start revolving and into the orbit, then chaser would be, after some time it would also come, and then eventual goal would be, once the relative velocity and everything matches, they need to fit together, or the docking need to happen. So the relative velocity will be introduced between the two spacecraft during the separation, allowing the target to achieve 10 to 20 kilometer separation from the chaser within a day. Mostly this docking would happen next year. So the propulsion system of the target will then arrest the drift, bringing both spacecraft into identical orbits around 20 kilometers, and this is exactly what is called far rendezvous. These are very important prelims and science and technology question. What is far rendezvous? What is target? What is PSLV? What is chaser? A question on prelims can come on this. It's a very important news. So docking process, using incremental velocity adjustment, the chaser will gradually approach the target and reducing inter-satellite distance. Once the inter-satellite distance reduces between the chaser and the target, both are satellites of approximately 200 kgs. So docking is expected to occur in the first week of January, that is next year it will happen. Okay. Next year it will happen, marking a successful demonstration of the technology. An approximate weight of each satellite is 220 kgs. I had said 200 kgs. You can add 20 kgs more to that. Okay. Significance of mission, obviously this is a very advanced mission, and from the space exploration point of view, it's very important for India. This docking technology will help us in building and operating space station. India is thinking about space station because International Space Station will be running out of its breadth and width very soon. So most of the countries are talking about their space station, from China to everyone. I think China already has it also. I don't remember its name. So many countries, they are working on it, and India is also planning that. Satellite servicing to extend the operation life of satellites. Interplanetary missions, again interplanetary exploration, this is very important, including sample return and manned lunar mission. Strategic importance, the demonstration of such precision technologies places in the league of nation capable. For example, when we do hypersonic, when we do nuclear submarine, so in defense technology we become very great, and space in the coming time would be $1 billion and $1 trillion economy. In this context, it is very important geopolitically and even from the business sense that India is in the top notch of the game, so that from the point of view of commercial nature also we make money. So for the complex space mission, this demonstration would be very important. It provides essential groundwork for Indian astronaut mission, including the potential moon landing. From that point of view also, it is very important. Now let's move towards the next important news. After 6th generation fighter jet, China unveils world's largest amphibious ship. All about it. Now this came in NDTV, it also came in India today. I think it did not come in the Hindu. Many times it is not covering very important news because this news has huge geopolitical repercussions and consequences. First of all, most of the world is currently working on a 5th generation aircraft. India does not even have a 5th generation aircraft. So the Chinese already have J-35, which is a 5th generation aircraft, which Pakistanis are planning to buy 40 of these. And last week there were two important news which came from China. That first one was that J-36, this 6th generation fighter jet, and it was flowing over the Chengdu region. And second important news which came was world largest amphibious ship. Now these amphibious ship from the point of war are very important. The Chinese spending and the Chinese weapon making and how Chinese are coming with new weapons, it is showing that they are producing weapons on war footing. This is something, they are focusing a lot, and their budget for the defense spending has also increased more than 6%. So let's move towards that news. But first, let's understand what is the 6th generation fighter. So first of all, understanding 6th generation fighter, there is a word which comes generation. What is a generation? Let's understand the word generation. So see, this word generation, this is a very recent phenomenon of using these words generation. It was in 1990s that this word generation came. Now the word generation is dependent upon the technology. So for example, say 4th generation fighter jets were coming, and a new jet would be called 5th generation once let's understand. So 4th generation fighter jet is there, and a new technology needs to be added in 4th generation fighter jet. But this 4th generation fighter jet, that this new technology which needs to be added, it cannot be added because of the design of that 4th generation fighter plane. All the feature of the 4th generation, the previous feature or the current feature, they cannot match up to this new technology. So for example, if you want to add artificial intelligence to 4th generation fighter plane, the software and machinery cannot work only, because the machinery or the software which 4th generation is working, it is of 1960s, 70s or 80s, for example. Now, if you want to use an artificial intelligence, you would need to redesign. You would need to redesign the entire plane with new aerodynamics. You will need to have new software of 2024. For example, if I'm saying 2024. So for that, a new entire plane would be constructed, designs would come, blueprints would come, new technology. So once this entire cycle starts with new features of the plane, from scratch you will start, this new plane will become 5th generation. So this is just an example to tell you. So whenever you need to start a plane which new technology needs to be added, which cannot be added in the previous generation, a new generation will come. So this is how the word generation comes. And this word of generation, this started around 1990s. So the term generation in fighter jets categorized is based on the technological advancement and development timeline. So this was introduced around 1990s, and once this term was introduced, it went back before 1990s, say 1910, 1920, 30, 40, 50, 60s, and then they said that this previous plane was 1st generation. Then technology changed, this was 2nd generation, then this was 3rd generation. So they have gone back in the past and defined that this was the 1st fighter generation, this was 2nd, this was 3rd, this was 4th. Whenever a major technology change happened and a new design came with that new technology, a generation shift happened. So this is what you call generation of fighter jets, and this is how you define generation. Okay. So the generation leaps occur when technological innovation cannot be retrofitted into the older aircraft, existing aircraft, necessitating entirely new designs, and this new design would become a new generation. For example, the China, when it is talking about J-36, its design and this plane design and technology is entirely different from J-35. You can go on Google and see the design of J-35 and J-36. There's a massive difference, and that is why it is called a 6th generation. So classification is not rigid, helps understand evaluation of air superiority and a nation military capabilities. Now China recently unveiled its 6th generation fighter jet at Zhuhai Air Show, which is highlighting the fast-paced advancement in this field, raising question about the future of aerial warfare. Countries which are developing is US, China, Russia, UK, Japan, Italy, France, Germany, Spain. See, all these countries are trying to develop, and China is trying to show that we have already developed. Now, what is the reality? It is battle tested or not? We don't know, because the media in China is totally controlled by the Chinese government. So what is exactly the reality? Only time will tell. But what are the potential features of a 6th generation fighter jet? It has a lot of stealth features. Okay, it is optionally manned operation, leveraging artificial intelligence to reduce dependence on human pilots. This is some of the features of the 6th generation plane. So hypersonic speeds, and since it is hypersonic and the stealth features are very high, the blip on the radar is almost negligible. For that matter, F-35, it is almost impossible to catch F-35 on a radar system. And F-35 is a 5th generation. This J-36 is 6th generation. It would be far better than the 5th generation F-35 plane, apparently, because we don't know what is the current technology. But if I go specifically from the point of view of definition of a 6th fighter generation aircraft, and if China had actually made it and their plane has all the features of 6th generation, it would be far better than the F-35. So use of direct energy weapons as lasers, so they can use lasers. Potential for suborbital flight, so they can do suborbital flight, and which will help them evade the radars and anti-aircraft system. integration of advanced computational power and networking. See, it's an integration of artificial intelligence, data, everything. So this is a much more advanced system. Obviously, second, third, or fourth generation fighter plane cannot compete with them. Okay. So this was your generation of plane, generation of fighter jets, and second was what is the sixth generation fighter jet. So I hope you've understood this. Okay. Now moving further into this, coming to this news, now China is taking a leap, they're taking a leap in defense armaments, ammunition, fighter jets, navy, military, and their navy is now the largest in the world. So Chinese military advancements are rapidly reshaping the global defense dynamics with significant focus on and progress in naval and aviation capabilities. And minded, this is happening when the presidency of Donald Trump is starting next month in January 2025. It will be starting. They're focusing a lot on military because the Taiwan and the South China Sea, this all issues are burning. And China knows that the Americans are coming, and the Americans in terms of Donald Trump presidency, which would be very on the papers, which would be on front foot, they are coming. So in this context, they want that, they don't lose the supremacy of South China Sea. Everybody knows their economy is also struggling. So they want that the Quad does not become strong. If Quad becomes strong, they need to have military strength to deter the Quad. Quad is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. 4 countries are under this. That is your India, America, Australia, and Japan. So following the debut of J-36 6th generation stealth fighter jet, China unveiled world's largest amphibious assault ship, the Type 076 Sichuan. That means if the aircraft was less of a news, the world's largest amphibious ship has been launched by the China. We'll see in the pictures also. So their budget has increased by 7.2. I was saying 6%, not even 6, more than 7.2% increase in defense spending, amounting to 1.67 trillion yuan in 2024. China's military expansion is proceeding at a wartime footing. So obviously China is realizing that, that some kind of skirmish or war is coming, and they are preparing. It is not necessarily it will happen in the coming 4 years or 5 years. It might happen by the end of this decade. So they are just preparing, and this also shows that they're countering the military technology or the military hegemony of the Americans, which they have enjoyed for years and decades. So this is what also is happening. Okay, so this is the 6th generation fighter jet. See, it does not have a tail. There is no tail. If you see for example, if you see Rafale, if you see or you see most of this 4th generation aircrafts, even for a 5th generation, you would tend to see a tail, but this does not have any tail. Okay, now you would be able to see there is no tail. Okay, standard fighter jet design is not there in the 4.5. So this is a different, and that gives them a lot of stealth feature. So unverified images of J-36, the 6th generation stealth fighter, it went viral. Jet features a tailless triangular design, emphasizing enhanced stealth features. Maneuverability would be very fast. Hypersonic speeds. It have more hypersonic speeds and suborbital capacity. The aircraft was observed flying over Chengdu, accompanied by 5th generation J-20 jet was also there. And this fighter jet, when it was flying over Chengdu, it was being done on the birthday of Mao Zedong. So there was also a geopolitical message out here that country, the Mao Zedong, which you can say the father of China, that how our country is progressing. This is a message to Americans. This is a message to the world by China. So it represents a major leap in Chinese aerial capability, challenging the US aerial dominance. Its debut coincided with the birthday of Mao Zedong, deliberate display of power and strength. This is also done in geopolitics. Closely follows the unveiling of Beidi White Emperor B-type 6th generation jet at Zhuhai Air Show in November 2024. So it is also told that the plane which was shown at the fighter jet, that Zhuhai Air Show in November 2024, which was said 6th generation fighter jet, which was called White Emperor. This is the same plane. This is the same plane, White Emperor. In coming time, we'll get to know about it. Next important thing is China's Type 076 amphibious assault ships. This is a massive ship. It is in the structure, it is smaller than an aircraft carrier, but in point of war, it is very, very important. And if you see, they also have some kind of landing place also. Okay, landing gears are also available. So this is an amphibious warship of Americans. Okay, this is American made. So obviously there's a huge difference in technology. But the good part is Chinese are making it. This is Americans. Okay, this is what Americans. So this is the well deck of US-2 Iwo Jima seen from a deployed landing craft. This is also a kind of amphibious warship they have, the Americans have. So an amphibious assault ship is a type of warship employed to land and support ground forces on enemy territory during an armed conflict. So it can deploy the forces, it can help the land forces, plus it is also having the capability. You can say it is a smaller version of an aircraft carrier. It is a smaller version of aircraft carrier, so the maneuverability is very high, and it can also land some fixed fighter jets. Okay, so fixed wing aircraft, not fixed fighter jet, fixed wing aircraft can also land using VSTOL vertical and short takeoff landing capability, and this new amphibious warship of China has this capability. Okay, so they can be, they can be secondary to the aircraft carriers, helping them out. So China's 076 amphibious assault ship, it's a southwestern Chinese province, was launched from Shanghai shipyard. It's part of People Liberation Army Navy modernization efforts. Full load displacement more than 40,000 tons. Dual island superstructure is available on this. Full length flight deck. So it has a full length flight deck from the point of view of fighter jets and helicopters also. Electromagnetic catapult and arrestor technology. Now this electromagnetar, this catapult technology, Americans uses. Now even Chinese have this technology. This also tells the advancement of technology which is happening, done by Chinese. So this technology can also be compared to the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. Strategic role enhances long-range operational capabilities in Far Seas, strengthens China's naval transformation in the Indo-Pacific region, and this also tells that geopolitically things are changing. The balance in the regional stability in the South Asia, Southeast Asia region, Indo-Pacific, South China Sea. This is what China wants to disturb and put their hegemony and dominance in this entire area and challenge the Americans. So this modernization is towards that particular angle. So discuss the significance of China's recent military advancements, include the type of 076 amphibious assault ship and J-36 fighter jet for the global balance of power, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region. So very important question from international geopolitics point of view, and how the Chinese advancement in weapons are happening. You can use a lot of information and also write your answer. Okay, so this course would be starting the Conquer Prelims 2025, which would be happening next year. The course is starting from 6 January 2024. All these features are available. You can call on this number for all the details. Now let's move towards today's editorial, which is related to the Russian-Ukraine war poses great threat to the airlines. The recent Azerbaijan crash we are talking about. So let's move towards this editorial. Dangerous sky, the risk of flying over the Russia-Ukraine conflict zone. So this kind of incident was expected to happen. It happened. So recently an Azerbaijan airline near Aktau, Kazakhstan had crashed, killing 38 people, highlights the risk of operating flights in the Russia-Ukraine conflict zone. Initially, it was told that this crash might have happened because of a bird, but the reports which have come from Ukraine, America, and many other agencies, this might be because of a misguided drone which attacked this plane, and this crash happened, and which has killed more than 38 people, killing 38 people. So initial speculation pointed to bird strike, but it was a misguided Russian anti-drone attack. The accident underscores the broader risk of modern warfare drones and air defense system. So we just did a news on China, how they are advancing their, air warfare, 6th generation fighter jets, but these are the repercussion which also happens. So this is exactly the area the plane was wanted to go from Baku towards this area. I think they were flying towards Grozny. So let me see. Yes, they were going from it's going from Baku to Grozny. So this is Grozny in Russia. So this was the path, but eventually it crashed in Kazakhstan. This was the route. I'm giving these places: Baku, Azerbaijan from a map location, and this is your Grozny, and this is your Caspian Sea. And this plane was far, far away from Ukraine border. So it is not that Ukraine was firing it. This was some misguided drone, because of which this incident happened. So the Embraer 190 aircraft, Embraer is a Brazil-based company, was en route from Baku to Grozny Evidence includes holes in the fuselage and oxygen mask. Deployment suggests depressurization happened, and this majorly happened because maybe that the drone had hit and the system stopped working, and there was an erratic flight path which happened. So response and investigation, Azerbaijan has sovereignty over the flight, but Brazilian manufacturer Embraer has also joined to help. Okay. So from the cockpit voice recorded and digital flight data recorder, we might get the sequence of events, possible interference from air and drone defense jamming systems. Over a period of time only we'll get to know. So either the drone had hit it or the drone was jamming the system. Since the jamming of the systems happened, the plane was not able to work and had the crash happen and 38 people got killed. So Russian involvement, Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a partial apology, though they have not directly accepted that this was their fault, but a partial apology has come from Vladimir Putin on this. So in modern warfare and aviation risk, these drones and micro drones, they have pose a huge risk, and specifically you're flying over the conflict region, be it Russia, Ukraine, or Israel, Hamas, Israel, Hezbollah, Israel, Houthi, or Israel, Iran. It is very important that these areas where this conflict is happening, it is important to stop this conflict. And on this, I'm totally with Donald Trump when he says that this conflict needs to end. Otherwise, it is not only that economy is going down, the world, rather than fighting poverty, we are fighting against each other country. The world economy would not move, businesses will not move, and more people will become a collateral damage as the Azerbaijan, the flight happened. So the drone and micro drones become central to modern warfare, capable of long-range strike and surveillance. Just imagine, the attack occurred 500 miles from Ukrainian border, highlighting the extended reach of this technology. It was 500 miles away. So that drone might be flying 500 miles away. It was able to jam the plane or the technology or the whatever communication it was happening, or it was trying to hit, whatever happened, because we don't exactly have the correct data. Probably in coming days we'll have, but this tells 500 miles away from Ukraine this happened. Even if it would have happened on Ukraine or Russia border, we could have understood, but it is happening so far. This also tells that how dreaded is this technology. So the presence of military jamming system in civilian airspace. Now civilian airspace, this is happening. Once you jam the system, obviously the plane is not able to work, and this might be the reason. So de-escalation is definitely needed in this region, otherwise this problem will continue. So success depends upon Moscow's willingness to end the invasion of Ukraine. I think by the end of January, we'll have some good news and some development might happen, but it would be very important. Ukraine also does not join NATO. Otherwise, this is not, we will not find a resolution to this. So a risk of regional spillover, I think I've spoken a lot about this collateral damage. Currently, it is going between Russia and Ukraine. North Korean troops have already joined them. Some Houthis have also joined them. So some Houthis were, given that you will get some job in Russia, but they were basically thrown at the Russia-Ukraine war at the forefront. So vertical escalation happens of weapons, horizontal escalation happens of countries getting involved. So countries should not get, otherwise this Russia-Ukraine war will expand. Already on February 2025, we'll say, there would be 3 years, not an anniversary, I would say, but 3 years of the Russia-Ukraine war. So many people have been killed on both the sides. It is important that we find a resolution. Otherwise, these kind of collateral damage will continue. So in this context, this danger posed by modern warfare to the civilian aviation, and renewed focus should be done to find peace in this area. So the question is, examine the application of modern warfare on civilian aviation with reference to the recent airline crash. Suggest measures to safeguard civilian airspace. So this is a question which you can go through. Let's move towards the prelims question. Consider the following statement regarding ISRO's space docking experiment. Now, SPARDEX involves the docking of 2 satellite names, Chaser and Target. The mission is critical for building India's capability in interplanetary missions. Okay. It will include Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, which will place 2 satellites, Hunter and Objective. So you tell me the answer in the comment section. What is the answer to this question? Obviously in PDF you'll get it. I gave you a hint also, and that is why this prelims question have come at the last, because that time you always remember. So please tell me in the comment section what is the answer and what is the correct answer. Okay, what would be the correct answer to this question? Okay. Now this is on the extra one nation, one election representative democracy. You can go through it. And ICANN 2.0, you can follow Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And thank you very much. Take care and Jai Hind. We'll meet tomorrow also. Bye-bye. Please do like the video, share the video, and please press the bell icon. And yes, the first podcast with Vinay sir on nepotism is out. Please watch it and please give your valuable comment. It is important that you put your valuable comments. I'll also take some important comments if there are. So, Taliban banned Windows building that overlook. Yes, Taliban. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. Stealth, you don't know what is stealth. Just Google it, what is stealth. This is a very basic English word now. What is stealth? So stealth is related to radar. For example, the radar is able to find, so it will put their rays, it would be able to find, for example, say this is a fighter plane going, this is a radar. So it will put a rate and it will get to know which is the location. But this is because that the flight, the plane deflects that particular rays or communication. But if it is not able to, it is not deflecting, rather it consumes those rays, it consumes that communication, radar is not able to find. For example, you must have seen this is a radar system, and if anything is coming, it shows blip, blip, blip that it is coming. These fighter jets have stealth features. So stealth features basically means that they have a different kind of coating, or they have certain aerodynamics that even if the radar is shooting some kind of communication rays or some kind of electromagnetic radiation, whatever you want to say, it will not able, the blip will not come on the radar. That is what your stealth features. So stealth is like it's an invisible fighter jets. So if 20 of these invisible fighter jets enter India, Indian communication system, Indian radar system will not be able to know it. They will come, they will bombard us, and they will go back. Compared to that, if a third or a fourth generation fighter plane is entering India, our radar system would be able to tell, and we will launch surface to air missile. So if we are able to locate this, we will launch a surface to air missile, and then they will target. But when it is a fifth generation or a sixth generation fighter plane, the blip on the radar, we will not know its location, where it is coming or going. So that is basically a stealth feature. I hope you understood. The PDF is shared, Sri Lakshmi, every day. After 2 to 3 hours, you will get this PDF. You can download it. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.